Oh, I've got to, did I say, yeah, we're on. Hi, Shakti Sundari. Thank you for joining me today. We haven't connected in a while and we're just jumping on together. If you can just quickly, briefly introduce yourself, but we're gonna talk today about, I don't know what the date is, it's about the 6th of December, something like that, 2021.
Yeah.
And as two women who are embodying the name Shakti and definitely embodying the energy of her, I thought it'd be a really great opportunity to just talk about where we're at this moment in the evolutionary process that we seem to have opted in for. Over to you, darling.
Oh God, yeah, who'd have thought it, right? Yeah, I don't like long introductions either. I'm Shakti. I've been doing the work of embodied awakening and awakening for women for 20 years. That's basically what I do. I'm a priestess of love, sacred sexuality, tantrika, dancer, healer. That's it.
Yeah.
That all sounds like blah, 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 blah. But, you know, before we came on, we were actually just talking about, like, what is it that we feel guided to speak to today? And that's actually, I'm going to go off on a tangent immediately, actually, with that. Great. Because the way that things work these days for me, as someone who's been tapping into the divine feminine all this time, is that I don't come with an agenda. I show up and I open up and I listen and wait for whatever wants to speak through me, right? This is one of the gifts that comes when we embody the divine feminine more and more. And what she was asking me this morning is, what are you here for?
Wow. So as we just literally touched on before we came on air, we were both just saying that there is something energetically here right now in this present now moment that is calling upon the divine feminine, upon every woman to feel into her body and to ask, how can I be in this moment to fully embody who I truly am, which is kind of what you've just asked.
Yeah.
So what would be your response to that if you were to answer that, Shakti?
It's really clear, and I'm always open to hear something new when I tune in, because actually, like, again, part of this path of being, you know, working with the goddess and embodying the divine feminine, we can't know in advance. This, you know, letting go of all the pre-planning, letting go of all the structures, letting go of the intellect, even though I've got a brilliant intellect, right? And sometimes it's a struggle.
You have. I wish I had your intellect.
Not even true. I was going to say it's a struggle to let go of it, but that's not actually true. It's not a struggle to let go of it. So that, I don't know why that even came in, but I know it is for many women.
Yeah.
It's a struggle for many women, and I see this kind of staying in the head and trying to figure it all out and being really brainy, you know, because you're brainy and or that's what's been privileged and accented and valued in the world to be that way. But the thing is, this wisdom is not here.
No.
It is here. It's in the body, it's in the womb, it's in the flow of your awakened Shakti energy, right? So I'm not sidestepping the answer. I'm here to live awake. This isn't something, it's not like a point that I get to in my life and I'm like, oh, I've awakened, I've done it, right? It's constant movement, constant change, constant evolution, constant opening, constant being met by new waves of darkness, being met by new realizations of shadow aspects or wounded aspects of myself that I had kind of lost touch with or hadn't seen, and like bringing them back home and reintegrating them back into love, back into the heart, back into divine consciousness, right? So it's like this ongoing process. I'm here to live that, like day by day by day by day.
Yeah. I think too many women or too many people, men and women, on this sort of awakening path, journey, whatever you want to call it, think that you're going to get there. And, you know, and that once you're there, and I've got to admit, Shakti, in all honesty, right, the place I'm at now That I always talk about the place I'm at as a place of deep inner peace, but it doesn't mean that you don't get pissed off, fucked off, angry, sad, grief-ridden, stricken.
Right.
All of these emotions, it's how you meet them and how you allow them to move through you. I think that, that is the place that, and I don't know about you, and I'm kind of jumping in here, but I feel like I've got to this place now where I've had so much experience of all that and all the circles we've done, the embodiment work and the dancing and all of that. I feel now like the only place I can now really go into my learning to the next level will be with a man.
Oh.
Will be with a masculine. Okay. Like, that's how I feel. And yet there's a part of me that feels and maybe knows that maybe in this lifetime, that man and I may not meet.
Right.
And although there would be a sadness with that, there's also this sense that I am so true to who I am in this moment that, if we meet, we meet. And if we don't, we don't.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice place to be, because I don't feel like I'm lacking in anything, but I feel so whole. And that's the place I wanted to get to and who I wanted to be.
Right. Oh gosh, you said so many things there. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, yeah. And I want to kind of, like, the things that stuck with me, I want to respond to, because I think they were really important for people who are going to watch this, listen to this. So the first is that whole kind of belief of, like, I'm going to get to somewhere and then I'm done. And, like, nothing's going to hurt anymore. I'm going to be ecstatic all the time. I'm going to be orgasmic all the time. Like, I just want to call bullshit on that expectation. And also, it comes from, I think, people observing us or observing the world through an outdated patriarchal paradigm where the feminine is undervalued. And so when a woman displays emotion or pain or suffering or anxiousness or confusion, the old-fashioned paradigm is like, how do I fix this? Right? Rather than what we know is, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with this. This is part of the spectrum of life. I'm just going to let it roll through me. So a big part of probably what we both do is sort of teach and train and support women to understand this and to be able to embody the full spectrum of the feminine, which includes the dark and the light. We've talked about the dark mother a lot recently as well.
Yeah.
So all the spectrum. And then the other part that you mentioned is like that underlying piece, which again, I think can sometimes be hard to understand if you're not experiencing it yourself. And actually, yeah, really mirror you in that, because I also feel that sort of deep faith, deep peace, deep trust, deep anchoring in existence, that is basically unwavering, whatever's going on. And on the surface, I could be crying, I could be feeling heavy-hearted, I could be raging. I do all those things. I've done all those things in the last week, right? So the other thing is, I don't judge myself anymore, because another part of that old patriarchal paradigm sets us up, like the guilt and the judgment, which basically is from the Judeo-Christian bullshit. Right? Just got to call it what it is. It's designed to control you through implanting guilt in your mind. So nobody else has to control you. You control yourself. You put yourself down through judge, guilt, shame, blame. Right?
Wow.
We get rid of all this.
I love the way you said that.
It's true. It took me a long time to recognize this. Like, and then when you see it, it's like, oh my God, this indoctrination that is like imprinted. And so
it is like it's imprinted. It's so dense, to unravel the programming and the mind control is kind of mind-blowing.
It is.
When you realize, when I still watch myself, I watch myself judging myself around things I wouldn't have even paid attention to before. And even before I go to sleep at night, sometimes, and I'm not a big worrier because I spent most of my life worrying about stuff like many of us do. But if I'm on a thought and I catch myself, the thing is, most people who have done no practices, no awareness practices, no mindfulness, will not even be aware of the amount of judgment that they are making towards themselves. I mean, that in itself, if we could get a pair of scissors and just cut the judgments we have towards ourselves and the narrative we speak to ourselves, if we could do that, we would all sleep like babies every night. And the power of that in itself is possibly the greatest healer. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if I could hold a mirror up to every woman that I've, crossed paths with in all the years, and just, reflect back that sort of self-judgment, the criticism, the if you could hear the voice, it's so harsh. I'm like, I'm just holding a mirror up to you for your beauty. I'm just holding a mirror up to you for your perfection. I'm holding a mirror up to you so you can just know that you're doing the best that you possibly can. And it's okay to have all of these feelings and to not be perfect, because nobody's perfect. It's such an illusion. And then the other thing, I want to come to your divine masculine thing as well, because again, there's kind of like there's a mirroring going on. Because you know me, we know each other pretty well. We've witnessed each other's journeys, and I've spent half my adult life longing to be met by a man and not being met. Not being met by a man, but longing for it. And, this longing is pervasive. Let's not lie to ourselves. Pretty much every woman I know or teach has this longing.
Absolutely. Right? I could count on my hand how many women across the world I know that have been met by a man.
And have the longing, like, this longing is there to, and, even just calling to mind somebody I was working with recently, and she was like, how do I stop this longing? And I'm like, well, maybe you don't stop the longing.
No.
Maybe that's part of the open-hearted meeting of life. And at the same time, I know that when we're fully embodying our Shakti, and it's not always like, it's always ebbing and flowing. I know for myself and from working with women for all this time, when we're fully in that embodiment, there isn't a question of anything being lacking in any realm of our being. We are completely self-fulfilled, which doesn't mean that we're saying fuck off men.
No.
We're experiencing ourselves as whole unto ourselves, in union with our inner masculine, or in union with God, divine, however you want to call it. So I know that in myself. And I've also recently, after many years of resisting, like remember when I did my priestess training, and Katinka said to me, so, because I was having one of those moments, and she was like, so how would it feel to acknowledge that you may never meet him? How does it feel to acknowledge that the rest of your life you may be solo? And I was like, no. And now I've got to the place where I'm like, yeah.
You are such a mirror for me. I had exactly the same experience about 8 or 9 years ago with my mentor. I've called her my spiritual mentor. She's the woman I've always had my mentoring and coaching and therapy, whatever you want to call it. She's been my spiritual teacher. And I learned a lot from her with the heart circle stuff, the way she was able to hold space. Like, she was my woman. And she said exactly the same to me, because one of the things I used to go, when am I going to meet him? Where is he? And she said exactly the same thing. She said, maybe in this lifetime, you'll have relationships, but maybe you won't be with anyone forever. Maybe that's part of, And I rejected that. My whole body was
Yeah.
grief stricken.
Yeah.
And I rejected that for many years, actually, Shakti.
Ah.
And over the last few years, you know, the more that I have embodied my true nature, the more, and to see the world as it is right now. I mean, you know, life is just a fucking miracle. You know, just life is a miracle. And to sit in circle with about 10 women the other evening online, and to have one woman, I'd love to name her because we know who she is, but I won't because it was circle. She wouldn't mind if I named her, but I'm not going to. But to have one woman yearning, she was meeting this rage. She was meeting this collective, but it was her own, but it was the collective. And my body, my yoni started tingling and I started shaking and I ended up roaring like, oh, and I gave her permission to do the same. And every woman in that circle then has permission to connect to theirs. For some, it was the next day. The power of that, I mean, fucking hell. If a man can't hold me in that fucking energy, I don't want to know. I feel so full of life force, that Kundalini, Shakti energy. And look, your eyes are sparkling. Look at you. I have to dance with you again. We should just be here dancing and connecting to the embodiment.
Well, I can feel everything you're saying. I can feel it in my body, of course.
Yeah.
I can feel it. So it's, I'm getting activated as you're retelling this.
Yeah. So, you know, so the moral of that story is when you're connected to Shakti energy, there is no room for more. You're just, you are that. And so if I can meet my man in that place, he's got to be able to match that energy at some level. He doesn't have to be as awake, but he's got to somehow be able to meet the fullness of me. How are you feeling into that? Is that not feeling true for you? Because I'm at the stage where I have been going on dating sites and looking, it's like, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's got a slightly different reflection.
I'd love to hear it.
And I'm just also still feeling the stirring of what you shared. So again, I want to say to the people who watch this, I want you to know that as you open your body spiritually, sexually, when someone is sharing with you, you can feel, you can tap into the energy that they're sharing. It sort of becomes this wonderful, like, woo, you know. So with the masculine thing, that I got to the point where I really felt it was true finally to say, I'm okay with the fact that I may never meet him in this lifetime. I'm so content, so fulfilled, and so sure of who I am, that anything that is not resonant with this is not coming in. Particularly now, even though that shouldn't even be relevant, but like, what is the point of me bringing something into my sphere unless it's going to enhance and amplify it? And again, we all have a different mission, we all have different values. You know, my mission is really clear, to sort of hold these teachings of the divine feminine and just expand and amplify them into the world. So, you know, if a man or masculine comes in and is not on board with that, I don't want it. And I'm really like, right now anyway, I'm just like, you know, kind of feels like that really. And I've gone off on one thing now. I did notice recently I posted on my Facebook wall, like I was just feeling really luscious and full. And I posted, wouldn't it be great to go on a date right now with a gorgeous, sexy, conscious man? And it was really interesting because not many men did reply to that. Mostly it was women in my circle going, oh yeah, wouldn't that be great? And we were literally just celebrating the feeling of desire and lusciousness and like, oh, wouldn't that be lovely? And just to feel into it, like I get excited. And then a few men posted and they had gotten really triggered by me saying this.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say I don't know why, because I do think I do know why. That might be offensive to them for me to say. So here's what I think, what I know.
If anyone's listening in this far, then they're genuinely gonna, you know, not judge anything here.
Well, this is just what I picked up. Reading into the words gorgeous, sexy, and conscious, and assuming that means somebody who looks like a male model, which in my book, it has got nothing to do with how you look. Well, that's not true. It's almost nothing to do with how you look.
Oh, I see why they might have been triggered, because it made them feel not good enough.
Yeah, they felt,
I see.
They felt they weren't good enough.
Right.
Because they obviously in their heads were thinking, oh God, she's talking about like this 6 foot, like macho guy.
I've got you.
Right?
I've got you. This is really interesting.
Very, very interesting.
This is really interesting. Finish.
Well, yeah, because it's such an assumption and such a projection. Like, because what I find sexy is someone who's present, someone who's intelligent, someone who is conscious and embodied.
Yes.
You know, the looks is one of the things lowest down in terms of like how I respond to them. It's like the energy and the
yes.
So,
but that doesn't come across obviously on internet dating, because you're just seeing the face, and most of them are fucking ugly. Sorry. I mean, I'm talking about internet dating. I probably shouldn't have said that. But what I mean is, when you see somebody, you can see if they're kind of healthy in their mind, their spirit, their body, if they take care of themselves. Like, for me, that's important. So I'm judging people on these internet things. And yet, if I saw the man I'm looking at on a dating site and I'm just swiping left, if I met him and I felt his presence, I would melt in his presence.
Right.
And that's what you don't get. You just get this shot. And most of them on dating sites don't put a good shot on. I'm not going to lie. They're sort of like, oh.
It's true. I'm never going to do, never say never.
Never say never.
Never say never online dating again, because, you know, for me, basically, the caliber of man is just not what I'm looking for.
No, you're spot on. I'm with you there. Anyway, we've gone slightly off track.
I'm not on a tangent, but it was interesting, how that simple statement of my desire triggered some men into feeling inadequate and then having a go at me, like, you know, in quite an aggressive way in some ways. And I was like, wow, you know, this is all about your insecurity and your desire for me. I suspect, actually, in a few cases, that they're not bold enough to speak. Now, I'm not interested in a man who's not straightforward enough to communicate honestly and transparently. You know, it's just not.
Yeah. Having said that, I know exactly what you mean. I was thinking before we came on, because I would love to meet someone. I'm not going to lie, but I know I'm not willing to compromise at any level. But I was thinking, there's 2 guys on Facebook that I'm in love with, and it's so nice. It's such a nice feeling, you know. And they're 2 guys that are real warrior men. You know, they're both American. No chance of meeting them or whatever. But just to see those guys. They're both single, funny enough, as well. As far as
okay, all the ones I like are in relationships.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of male versions of you and I, in a way, I guess. You know,
it must be amazing.
But it's a nice feeling just to know that there are men that, but you know, have I raised the bar too high? You know, and as I say that, I don't feel I have. And yet, what is this untouchableness? What is this untouchableness? You know, because I think in real life, I think if we're brought together by total, you know, meant to be, I don't think any of this is relevant anyway. I think this is just all speculation. but I do have a sense of trust. That's what is meant to happen is to happen. I've kind of let go of, you know, I know women who have spent a lot of time on dating sites looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. And that feels really comfortable in my system. You know, I love the feeling of the longing, knowing that when it's meant to happen, divine timing will bring us together. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things with that, because what I have observed in myself, and not in you, I've observed in myself and people I know and people I've worked with in the past, is that if that longing taps into a needy place, which again, a lot of women have, or from an unresolved mother or father wound, you will end up picking men who are just going to reaffirm for you your unworthiness and undesirability, and it's going to be painful.
Absolutely. I've done that, Shakti. I've done that many, many times.
Yeah, so me too. And so for me, you know, people will hear this and they'll maybe think, oh God, you know, they're so stuck up or whatever. But actually my personal pattern, and the pattern I've seen most commonly in the women that I work with, is a low self-worth and a lack of self-value, which has led to dating men who are way below. I'll speak for myself, my own intellect, my own spiritual evolution, my own level of consciousness, my own level of embodiment, my own tantric embodiment, like way below. And I've done that in the past because I haven't truly seen and valued who I am, not from a place of arrogance, but just from a place of love and recognition. That comes from that, you know, again, the patriarchal
100%,
all of that stuff. So it's really, for me, about raising the bar. And it doesn't mean I'm being snooty and thinking everyone else is shit. It just means I can't accept into my realm, as the queen of my realm, what isn't truly aligned for me, because I'm desperate or needy, because I'm not desperate or needy, but I did that for a long time. And in that also, it's kind of holding a standard where, you know, I think men in the world at the moment are really confused, a lot of them. You know, not all of them. I know many incredible men. I've got incredible male friends, and I know incredible male teachers who are, I would say, like, you know, my equal, who I really respect and look up to. But I think a lot of men are confused and pissed off.
100%, Shakti, 100%.
You know, so in us holding a standard compassionately, but clearly, it also helps everybody to raise the bar. You know, like one of the guys who commented, for example, on my post, that, you know, it became really vulgar, and they started to talk about, basically, in other words, jacking off. And I was like, I don't put that on my wall. And I just said, actually, I don't think that's funny. I find it vulgar and disgusting. And he messaged me and apologized, right?
Wow.
And so I didn't mean to offend you, but personally, I don't find that kind of like smutty talk appealing. I find it disgusting. I find it really unappealing. It's so off-putting. I'm a teacher of sacred sexuality, for Jesus' sake. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what?
But you know, vibrationally, like when you're tuned in to you know, to what we're tuned into, the truth, you know, the goddess, whatever, that smut is such low vibration. It's horrible, isn't it? It's just horrible. It's and there's nothing prudish about it, you know. That word gets me. I mean, a lot of things get me around the whole thing around relationships needs challenging and changing. And I, you know, it is happening. And I do believe, as I know you do as well, that this whole, you know, spiritual war that we're in at the moment is, you know, is the divine masculine and feminine. And it's time for, you know, for women. I do feel that the women, I mean, just coming back to what you said, I know so many conscious women, are conscious at various levels, who are single.
Yes, same.
Who are desperate for children. I mean, they're desperate to, you know, they're in their late 30s, 40s, they're desperate for children, for family. And I do feel for them, because there are more conscious women now than there were when I was in my 30s.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, obviously. And I've just pulled together a heart circle at my place. We've got some men joining in. I do feel that the men you know, we need to get these. I mean, I'd love to have men running circles here where I live, and I'm sure you would. I know there are some great men out on Facebook, social media, doing some great work. We do need more of them. So as much as I feel, come on, goddess, you know, come on, women, come on, embody your sacred mother, your sacred rage. Let's take action, you know, inspired action. Let's step into this greatness, that this power, this magic that we are. You know, the same for the men as well. The men need to step into that embodiment as well, you know. And it's oh God, can you imagine the world when that happens? I mean, it's just, oh my God.
Yeah, you know, I do sometimes get a little bit sad because I sort of think I'm not going to be alive to see it.
Yeah,
I sort of feel like I'm leading the charge, you know.
yeah, we are, sweetie.
And I'm like at the front, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, where the fuck are they? I'm here. I've been here for 20 years. Like, I'm on my fucking horse. I got my flag.
True. It's true. I've been on that one as well. It's like there is something very comforting in acceptance. I don't mean acceptance as in I've given up the thought of meeting a man, but I've accepted that this is the time I chose to be in. This is the journey I chose, you know. I chose to be a 25-year-old widowed mum. I chose, you know, for my two boys to not be on the same path as me. You know, I chose it all. We chose it all.
Yeah.
And in that, there is some solace to know that whatever happens is already divinely planned, and all I can do is keep on being more of who I really am, you know. And
that's the thing. It's like if you like do, this is my belief anyway. It's not like, this is my belief.
Yeah.
My belief is if I or you, if we are truly on our soul's divine path and we are tapping in every day and we're like going where we're guided to go, we're showing up as we're guided to show up. You know, this is, for me, that's what my life is about. That's what I call other women to be fully in your light, to show up fully as you, without like any of these contractions and shames and like, oh, I can't do that, you know. It's too, like, we haven't got any more time. It's like, bloody show up in your fullness as you are, and whoever is resonant with that is going to show up by your side at some point, and maybe you're going to have to be on your own for a while too, and it feels fucking lonely sometimes to be that one. But the time is for all of us to show up fully now, like, you know, like, let go of all that programming of I'm not good enough, or like, oh, what if I get it wrong, or like, so what, we all make mistakes, but we're doing our best, right? I make mistakes, I'm doing my best. Absolutely. I get it wrong, I'm doing my best, but I'm showing up, and I want to, like, oh, I've got this ring light here, and I want to kind of shine the ring light in there and kind of say to everyone, like, it's time to show up in your fullness. Absolutely. Now. There is no more time to wait. There's no more time to lose, and no one else is going to do it. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know what? Like, I've really enjoyed this conversation, and we didn't know where it was going to go. I just knew Shakti and Shakti time. And we haven't touched on sex, and we will in another conversation at some point, I have no doubt. But just for anyone who's still listening to us, if you are a single woman and you are practicing you're on your journey to awakening, or whatever you want to call it, high levels of consciousness, if you're practicing being in the flow and being who you really are, then self-pleasure, whatever you want to call it, masturbation, I hate that word. You interviewed a guy, he had a wonderful name for it, and I've forgotten what he called it. It wasn't Simon on the sofa, was it? Simon Transparent. You interviewed a guy, it might have been Simon. I'm following him on Telegram at the moment. And he had a wonderful word for self-pleasure. And I've forgotten it now, but it was really lovely. I loved it. I preferred it than self-pleasure. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Don't abandon that practice, because this energy, you know, when I had this orgasmic energy, when this woman in circle, this sister in circle, was enraged, this is what ignites, you know, this energy that we're talking about, this Shakti Kundalini energy, is not about sex. You know, we both say this all the time. It's about igniting your passion, your power, which translates into every area of your life. Because so then you can't abandon.
Go on. Sorry.
Don't abandon that practice is all I'm saying. Keep it
I got
going.
excited. Sorry.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm just going to add on. Sorry for speaking over you. I just got really excited.
Oh, no, not at all.
When that energy is flowing, like we said at the start, you are full. There isn't any doubt anywhere in your mind. You speak, and the words that come out of your mouth are divinely channeled. There's a wisdom in the body. There's a wisdom in the women. And eventually, right? Eventually, you are speaking the truth from the beyond that comes through. It comes through me, it comes through you, it comes through in my writing, my words, right? And it's not about your ego. It's not about your personal self. It's about the truth that wants to be lived in this moment through everybody. And we all can tap into that. And yes, sacred self-pleasure. It's not just about rubbing your clitoris, okay? You can access, although that's wonderful as well, you can access this energy and this pleasure in so many ways, through your open or sensitive body, through the breath, through meditation, through focusing on your energy body. There's like so many ways. I can sit in meditation now, and you see my body being stock still. Nothing's happening inside. I'm having an ecstatic party with God, right? It can become.
Did you say an ecstatic party with God?
I did say that.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Maybe I'll call this video "How to Have an Ecstatic Party with God."
God, right? That's what my life is about. The other day, I was teaching my Rapture course, a Taste of Rapture, the mini course, and one of the ladies, we were chanting mantra, and her Kundalini activated. You know, she's been meditating for some years. I don't know how long. Not like all her life, maybe 3 or 4 years she's been meditating. Wow. But this was the first time she was chanting the mantra, and her Kundalini activated. I could see her on the Zoom video, and she was off. Yeah. And she came and she said, "What just happened? I feel full of bliss, full of love. Love is," and she just couldn't stop sharing the joy in this activation. All we had been doing was chanting sacred mantra. So that for me is making love. Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about this. Yeah. And you know, the energy of that, it feels arousing. And you know, this is where again the programming, the old page, like, oh, I feel aroused, I better like stop that. Yeah. You know, but like, if you can't feel fully aroused and allow arousal to move through you, you're not going to allow yourself to feel this awakening energy, which is about purification of consciousness. Absolutely. And I think, and obviously for another time, I'm going to wind it up. Okay. But I think this is when get two Shaktis talking about sex and confusion would be a whole day. But my point being, I think part of the problem is this cutoff, you know, is this programming around what this energy actually represents, what it is, what it is. And still, sadly, even my lover in Bali about 8 years ago, I was obviously post-menopausal. I've said this to you before. He was like, "Oh, what, you've been through the change and you can still have orgasms?" I'm like, yeah. I mean, he was like 25 years younger than me, but it's like, yeah. And that was the best sex I've ever had. But, you know, he was the last one for me. I mean, it's, yeah. And I've been on a workshop of yours. I think it might have been at the Goddess Conference or somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And I was mortified at the amount of women that had so much shame around just the whole subject, like so much shame. And I believe it is still the same. Yeah. I don't think a lot has changed in that department, if I'm really honest. I can see I've got an 18-year-old daughter, and you know, luckily I'm her mum, but from what she tells me, it's very sad. It's the same old. Yeah. You know, and people think that if they're being sexually active at a young age, that tell my son not to phone me. You know, like, don't confuse the fact that you're being very sexually active with the fact that you don't have shame. because it can be like you're being sexually active, like, as I know from my daughter, a lot of young people are,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't be able to have a conversation with that person about their true feelings.
No, again, that's a whole nother topic. That is a very sad state that we're in as a collective, you know, it really is. So we are doing powerful work, my lovely.
We are.
Really.
Can I mention my book for a minute?
Yes, of course you can. Go for it.
Just put it there just to remind me, like, just show you. It's called Rapture, a guide.
And congratulations, because I haven't personally congratulated you on that book. You know, well done, you. It's a big thing.
It is a big thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well done.
Sexual and spiritual awakening for women.
Yeah.
So,
I highly recommend that book to any woman listening. It's we'll put the link below for Amazon. Yeah, well done, you. It's a big accomplishment.
It is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it's so nice to connect with you. It really is. And we're not that far away from each other. We really ought to get together for a mulled wine.
Let's do it before Christmas.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Oh, and thank you for listening. And if you know any woman that might enjoy this conversation that we've had, please share this video. Lots of love. Big love, darling. Take care. See you.
Bye, darling. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.